Governor of Vermont signs into law the decriminalization of small amounts of marijuana. While it will soon be the law of the land, it's not sitting well with everyone there. Matt Markham spent the day in the Green Mountain State, where a green debate now rises, and Matt is now live in our newsroom with the story. Matt.
Hi, good evening, Dory. Well, several years ago, Vermont legalized marijuana for medicinal purposes. It is now the 17th state to extinguish criminal consequences for cannabis, and it lights up some questions for law enforcement.
We will enforce it like we do any of the other laws, but as of right now, I disagree with the law.
Take a stroll down the street in beautiful Bennington, and come July, a cloud of smoke may follow you, but not to the police department. Less than an ounce of cannabis carried, a fine instead of jail time.
Let's treat decriminalization of marijuana not as a drug that we endorse, not as something that our kids should be using, but when Vermonters do abuse marijuana, let's make sure that it's a traffic ticket kind of fine and it doesn't affect the rest of their lives.
If possession is 9/10 of the law, how much you're packing could be the most trouble.
So you have this much, which is illegal, but just this little bit much more is going to be illegal. It's going to be very hard to determine on the street how much is what.
How do you enforce this?
We're too new into the law to really determine that, but it might end up having to be that we have to carry scales around.
The smoke that rises from the new law in this town could keep police busy.
Do you see a fair amount of marijuana-related crimes on a daily basis, or at least marijuana is involved?
Marijuana is involved in a lot of instances. We have a fair amount of property crimes, retail thefts, regular thefts for people that are trying to support their drug habits.
Signing the law, Governor Shumlin believes more time should be spent on combating opiate addictions. But the Bennington Police Department says pot is a gateway drug with long-term consequences.
They usually build up and try other drugs before that, and usually it's marijuana, which is the beginning drug of choice.
Now, you'll recall that one of the largest drug busts in Vermont history happened just a few months ago in Bennington, mainly heroin and crack confiscated then. Under this new law, penalties will climb from $200 for your first offense of possessing marijuana. It's still illegal to grow it or buy it, and you know there's a push to legalize pot in New York as well, Dory.
Yes, there is, and you know, it's interesting to hear the perspective of law enforcement who you spoke with today. How about the state's Defender General? I understand you spoke to them as well, so what did he have to say about the benefits here?
Well, he said that people will no longer suffer the collateral federal consequences, at least in Vermont, of marijuana possession, such as getting student loans or securing public housing if they need it. But when it does come to law enforcement, he says, the fellow that we spoke to said officers will spend less time processing small possession crimes. But as you heard, that may not be the case everywhere.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. All right. Thank you very much, Matt Markham, live in our newsroom. Greg.